Right. I'm back again with another real estate lunchbox. Appreciate you taking the chance to actually check this out. Any of you guys coming in on a live stream, I appreciate it. You guys are very important. I do this. I do this simply because there's a lot of real estate programs out here that are really whack. They're corny. No lie. I mean, they tell you what's going on, but really, I think they really just want to hear themselves talk when they tell you. Um, Man, after I've been in the real estate business 18 years, uh, I've lost property, I've gained property, not in foreclosure, not like that, property deals. Um, I've bought property. I was sitting down looking at the numbers. I did roughly about 10 or 12 flips, and I started flipping probably about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and I've done probably 75 plus personal deals, from wholesale deals to buy and then sell, buy and hold for a little bit, cash flow. Um, and that's low because we started doing this in 75. Um, I'm sorry, 2015, and racked it up to 75, 75 to 100. And I know with clients, I've done hundreds of transactions for clients, hundreds, which is a lot more than a lot of agents that are out here in the market. But the goal is not to compete with agents or to tell you that there are bad agents out here. The goal is really to service you guys. And this is not a program to service you as an agent, as a buyer or seller. I'm doing this more because I enjoy talking about these topics. And I feel like that agents are very vanilla. A lot of them are vanilla. No pun intended, but they are very vanilla, very basic, and the ones that aren't, they you don't know about them. That's the thing. They're very good at what they do. They make money and they sit back. They can care less if the world falls apart. They've already put systems and things in place that allows them to be very successful at what they do. Okay. And so in this business, in this space, life affects how real estate is done. Real estate just doesn't get done. We can see real estate close, more deals closing when the market's in a certain condition. We also see deals closing when the market's really bad. And in some parts of real estate, if the market is really bad, you're going to have a great year. You're going to have, and in the investing portion of real estate, unfortunately, that's true. When the market's bad, you're going to have a great year. Um, Being in Atlanta is a different market, very different market. Okay, but I feel you because Atlanta is so unique. There's a lot of craziness down here as well as sanity. You know, um, I try my best not to go off, but I can't help it because I see people do a lot of stupid stuff. A lot of people feel because they're educated, they are supposed to be successful. Where people like me, I've never completed college. I started, got halfway through. My aunt told me, "Hey," I said I was going to quit to get into real estate, and she said, "Hey, that's the devil talking to you." But it was God. It was God talking to me, man. And everything I move is by the leading of the Spirit. Even when I have topics and these topics that some Christians won't touch, or some spiritually deep Christians, religious Christians won't touch, I don't care. I don't care. God has given us the wisdom to walk through all of this crap that's here that we're going through. Whether it's government shutdowns, which we're going to talk about today, whether it's 50-year mortgages, we're going to cover a little bit about some of this job shortage. And believe it or not, there's an employee shortage at Ford. And then we're going to talk about college. We're going to talk about college. And because I've got a teenager going to school, she's going to be going into college, you know, next year. Uh, and then we're going to talk about immigration. We're going to talk about immigration. I got a couple other things, and I may get to some of it. I may not get to, some of the other stuff, but hey, it is what it is, at the end of the day. Whatever I don't cover, I'm going to turn around and cover the next day, or we'll cover if it's still relevant, if I still feel like the need to, you know. Um, I really try to be as authentic as I can with you. Um, this is one of those things where I don't care if anybody logs on or nobody really says anything. I'm still going to do what I got to do because God told me to do it, and He put it on my heart to do it. You know. Um, so let's start with this government shutdown. Let's start right there, and as we go, I'm gonna throw some things in. Some of these videos I've seen already, some I haven't. You know, so it's not complete reaction. Um, some things I just put up there, some things get sent to me, and I just wait to play it because I love to see authentically how I respond to it. You know, but keep in mind that I'm gonna tell you guys, real estate is for anybody and everybody. And the way that this world is trending right now, if you are so comfortable in your job, if you still feel like you've made it and you've been very successful, I'm gonna tell you to reach back to the people that haven't been successful. It's the people that are still trying to figure this thing out, and help them figure it out. You know, give them some wisdom, give them some insight. People talk a lot about Atlanta and how great Atlanta is, but I can tell you at the same time, Atlanta is also like crabs in a bucket. A lot of people down here don't give two shits about what you do and how you do it, you know? And then you have some people that just humble themselves to learn from you. I mean, I was at the grocery store and I had my We Buy Houses hat on, and this kid walked up to me. He said, "Man, I want to learn how to buy houses. Do you wholesale?" And I said, "Yeah, I wholesale when the need arises, when it's necessary, I'll wholesale. When I see the value in it." And so he asked to, what can you help me, or can you show me some stuff? It took a lot of humbleness in his mind for somebody to actually stop, for him to stop and ask. But I could tell he was just hungry. He just wanted to learn. He wanted to know more. He wanted to know more. And so in the course of this, there's a lot of things in real estate that people don't talk about. They don't share. I'm going to share it. Um, I'm going to share it, and I'm going to share it because I know that it is something that is very necessary. I hate it when people don't share, don't they always want to charge you. And even if they charge you, they give you half of the stuff they charge you. That they've charged you $5,000 for something that to learn, and they don't even give you 5,000 worth of quality. And that's a notorious thing down here. I've seen it in Atlanta. I've seen it so many times. It took me learning it through experience and then opening up the book. So not going to college helped me actually learn the importance of actual education, because education is important. We never say that it's not, but what we do say is that there are many ways to actually learn. And I believe God is teaching us how to do some of this thing, and it's up to some of us who actually know how to do it to share it with some of you guys that don't know how to do it. So if you showed up today,
congratulations, well done.
You did what needed to be done. Um, but at the end of the day, like, subscribe, follow. We got a ton of content. I'm always sharing and dropping some things. Some people, agents and people, one thing I've learned in doing this program, and when I started doing this program, one thing I learned is that a lot of people that were around me are nervous to talk about these topics, especially if they're in the space of sales and they think that people will not like them when they talk about these topics. I don't care. I don't care if people don't like me or don't call me, or if they see a video out there and they say, "Oh, I don't like when you talk about it." If somebody's so small that they will avoid you because you speak about things that they don't necessarily like or appreciate or don't care too much about, it's more the first two. They don't like and they don't appreciate. It's not that they don't care. They just don't like and appreciate it, but they will avoid you and kick you out of their life. Those are very small things. And in the course of this, I'm learning that God has set me free and how far He set me free because there are people that need to hear it. And I try the most that I can to stay within the space of common sense without exploding unnecessarily. I personally feel this system that we have has stupefied a lot of people. It's made a lot of us lazy, inconsistent. It's made a lot of us believe that our education, our 4 year degree specifically, is the way you're supposed to survive in this country, is the way that God intended. And always and always, my message is going to be God loves you, man. And some people He sends to school, but there's a lot of people He hasn't sent to school that went to school. Knowing that, I sit back and I see them struggle with high student loans, a job that doesn't pay them hardly anything, that they barely make ends meet, the inability to be able to find more money to get the bag. And I think I've been notorious for getting the bag as I grew up.
Congratulations, well done.
I mean, from the time I was selling at the Gap, retail, to going door to door for ADT security and corporate sales and things like that, I learned how to hustle. So it's not about having a degree, more it's about common sense. And more importantly, having the Holy Spirit, having God tie into your common sense. Having infusing your thoughts with His thoughts. So I tell you what I say every day when I get started. Lord, what do you want me to do today? Who do you want me to talk to today? You lead me and you guide me. And I tell you that I share that with you because I told that to my daughter this morning. I said, I want you, babe. And she's a A+ student. I mean, she's got 4.0 plus GPA, very intelligent. Man, I love the heck out of her. Call her my boss baby. I mean, I could see her walking when she first started. But I told her there's going to be a lot of haters out here as you move through this next process in your life because you probably have access to things that they don't have access to. You look good, you're intelligent, your parents put together the bag. I want you to always remember that God has a purpose for you. We don't live life to just get up, get our degree, go to school, come home. That's life consists of more things than that. It doesn't even consist of even just finding a spouse. And when you know and you tap into Him and have that relationship, your purpose is discovered. Your purpose is discovered. So I say that because that's my message to young people right now in a shaky economy at a time where it seems like there's a lot of uncertainty. AI is actually coming after their jobs or coming after their future jobs and helping some of them in college. Interesting statistic. I read that I read a statistic of a high number of college students using Chat GPT to complete their assignments and to do their assignments. Oh my gosh. What's the purpose of sitting down and memorizing information when you got Chat GPT? The purpose of Chat GPT is to collapse time. And I believe that this AI that's out right now is going to collapse time. I believe that the way that AI is treating people right now, a lot of people don't know how to use it. They have no idea. Some of them say it's the Antichrist or it's the beast. It can't be the Antichrist. It's more than likely the beast. And I wouldn't argue with them to say that it plays a big part in the end time revelations. I wouldn't, I'm not, it's true. plays a big part in the end time revelation. But let's be for real, until the you see the Antichrist, we see the image arise. Until if we're even around for that as chosen ones, the believers, until that time, this technology can help advance the gospel so many different ways. And I'm not an advocate of being afraid of it, of not using it, of running from it. That's not what I advocate. I'm not going to. And I'm going to teach as many people as I can how to use it, whether they're in real estate or just for the everyday, flow. You know. So, um, but I would say this. I'll say this, man. If you're raising kids right now, this is tap into God for grace. Tap into Him for grace on how to handle their situations, which are different than the times we were growing up. I think I'm able to talk now because I was telling my wife, it's funny, my mom, the nuns at the school I went to school at, my school, the nuns there, I went to a Catholic school, kindergarten to 8th grade, me and my brother. And the nuns would turn around and they would turn around and give me a spanking if I'm caught in school talking. Like when I'm in class, if you ever went to a Catholic school, you know what I'm talking about. A Jesuit school, or one of those private schools where the nuns still had to paddle. Yeah. Up until I think up until the 6th grade, the nun, it wasn't a strange thing for them to drag or to tell you that you have to go to the closet, the coat room. And when you got to the coat room, you were going to get 2 paddles. One, because you were talking, and 2, because of whatever else you did. So guaranteed, I got 2 and sometimes 3 simply because I was talking, you know? And it changed my life. You know, and we're missing that in school because they would write a letter to my mom and say, hey, Mrs. Duncan, Leon was talking too much in class today. He just keeps talking. And when I would get home and I give it to my mom, she reads, you're just talking too much in class. Now, my family, if you don't know, I said it before, immigrants from West Africa, Liberia specifically, the first colony, or you would say country, by slaves who left the U.S. and established their own country to get away. That didn't go as good as it should have. But it was enough to birth me and people that I know that are Liberians. And some of us came to this country, all of us came to this country when the war broke out there. So our parents were speaking in heavy dialect. And with time, conforming to the U.S., not being the ones that stood out there and we just said what we wanted to say in our language. Yeah, we maintain our cultural foods and knowledge and connection with our homeland, but you better believe we were American, okay? From the clothes we wore, car we drove, to the taxes we paid and the jobs we worked at and the things we believed in. Never had conversations about politics. We never even had conversations about the black and white issue that a lot of people seem to always have issues with in America. Always the issue of black and white. Who did this? Who didn't do this? But we didn't experience that. For us, being in a country where where you're blessed to be in,
Bluetooth disconnected.
where the people don't kill the president and parade their head around on a spike. We were fortunate. We knew it was a blessing, an honor, a responsibility to be here. We were responsible for the future. coming after us and responsible for those who were there who didn't make it over, who didn't get the visa, who didn't become naturalized citizens. And the day after Veterans Day, I tell people I am so proud to have served in the military. And it was fortunate. My uncle said, "Hey, after college, what do you want to do?" I had no idea. There wasn't a conversation in my household about, we knew we were going to work and we were all working and I had 2, 3 jobs. But college was over at that time. I mean, high school was over. Getting to the end at least. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with your life? He said, "I think you should join the military." One uncle that was actually born here, grew up here. So I took his advice because he was a previous Navy guy, retired Navy, veteran Navy, and I joined the Army, not the Navy, the Army. Go Army! But shout out to all my veterans. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we didn't expect anything from our country, from this country. We didn't expect a perfect life. We expected a chance, an opportunity. That was it. That was it. When I would go to school, and I spoke a lot more proper than I do now. I don't even think I speak proper. I still got that Philly up north accent. But you got to believe I spoke a lot more proper. A lot more proper. And they would clown, they would say, "Man, you sound like a white boy." Now, I don't know what sounding like a white boy was at that time, but it didn't sound like anything I really wanted to sound like because I knew everybody was black. But I would understand because, and I could understand because you're talking to a kid that watched The Fall Guy, 90210, Alf, Different Strokes, all of the shows, just consuming American culture through television and then through school and through independent encyclopedias and learning independently and observing the world around you. Different time. So it had to be hard because there were first of the cousins or the young ones here. I didn't have anybody to call in, so that's what led me to learn martial arts because I didn't have a crew to call in. But you better believe I became the hitman in the crew because they called on me. And I thought they were gangsters. But man, I tell you, I look at that time and I look at this time and it's completely different. I look at that time and I look at this time and the entitlement and what the country is supposed to give them, and that this land doesn't belong to Americans, but belongs to people that Americans took it from. Forgetting that we live in a world where the conqueror wins. So you better learn how to be the conqueror. Not this soft, I am a liberal or weak minded or I'm entitled to something. It doesn't come from me. Now, this echo chamber, I know you guys go on YouTube and you hear this. Some people hear it, some people like it, some people dislike it. Some places in the black community, they think this is a disease. Oh my gosh. It goes against everything that the 60s, the 70s taught the black people because we're not in the 60s or the 70s. And there was a point in time where that was great and it was necessary. But like times change, people have to change. Perspectives have to change. And I don't mean turning socialist or communist. Never in the history of our world have we seen an empire like the United States, which has been around for 250 years, standing on capitalism, free market, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. It's not perfect, but if it was anything close to being awesome, you would have people fighting to get in here. Oh, I apologize. People are fighting to get in here, right? So there are so many black people that will turn around and say, "Oh, you're crazy." But I'm gonna tell you, I'm more African American than you are. Okay, I am, and I don't even call myself African American. I call myself American because I damn well am American, and I got the 18th Airborne patch to prove it. And I did my time, and I didn't just do it just because I wanted to. I did it because I loved it, man. You gotta. There's a certain grit and a grind that's missing from our young people. When we think that getting a 4-year degree is going to solve our issues and our problems, and God is calling us to humble ourselves, to talk to Him. I told my daughter this morning, I said, "Babe, all I want you to do is just to wake up, to ask God, say, thank you for another day. What do you want me to do with my life today? What do you want me to do today?" Yielding herself to Him. Purpose isn't found. You can't find purpose on a 4-year college. You can't even find purpose in a political belief. You can't. You can't even find purpose in marriage or relationships. You only find purpose in that small quiet place that you sit in, that nobody hears, nobody cares, nobody's listening. That quiet closet, those hours in the middle of the morning, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, where you just choose to listen and not to speak, where you thank God and you just sit down and you listen to your heart. There's something that, when I study martial arts, there's something that amazed me about the monks, about the Shaolin monks. And I got a black belt in Taekwondo. And I always wanted to go to Korea. That's one reason the recruiter got me in the military too. He said, "Yeah, we can get you on the national karate Taekwondo team." I said, "For real?" Young, dumb, and full of cum, bro. But but you sit there and they have something that I didn't quite get it. I said, why would these guys just sit down and they're meditating? And America makes it look, in our society, in our culture, like it's some weird or thing to sit down and to be quiet and silent and just breathe and listen. There's a scripture that talks about how you hear God in the silent. Now, there was a story, matter of fact, about the prophet who sent the guy out to see the army, and he didn't see him, and he sent them, and the guy comes back and he says, "Prophet, I don't see the the force of heaven. You said I don't see God." He said, "Go back out there." And when he went back, yeah, he saw the army of the invaders, but he saw this force of angels, but it was in a quietness, in that quiet, still wind, that he heard the voice of God. And that's, I think, the biggest problem. We've put education and made it our God. We've taken our fraternities, our sororities, our organizations, we made it our God. We did it even in politics. And I'll tell you, I know I'm a conservative. I lean more conservative. I don't want this country destroyed simply because people don't like Donald Trump, or simply because some radical people decided that we're just going to let everybody in. And I tell them, this is a slap in the face of people like me, because I'm truly African American. An African came here that became American, and since the time of 4 or 5 years old, and you can't get no more than that. But I'm not sitting back calling myself African American. I'm an American. You don't see that from any Jews. You don't see that from any Italians. You don't see that from any Polish people with backgrounds. They're American. So if I don't say anything, who else is going to say stuff? If I don't draw the attention to the fact that people are being turning into citizens every day, except for Saturday and Sundays, unless they do it on Sunday, Saturday, naturalized citizens. And these are not people that jumped the border. These are people that came in, they paid the price, they paid the number, they waited, and they became citizens. To be a Roman citizen during the time of Rome is equivalent to being an American citizen right now. Rome, the most powerful fighting force, and there's no pride in it. There's very little pride in it. In the black culture, we tell our children uh, that cops are gonna whip your ass if you go somewhere down. I hope they don't take that down. We get that. We say they're gonna, hey man, you better watch out. Them white dudes, them cops are gonna whip you behind. Granted, Rodney King got his behind whipped. That's true. And he sued them and got his money. But to believe that every cop enters the force with the idea that they're going to find a young black dude or woman and whip their behind to get their frustration out is a lie. And we want a perfect system to tell us that this is not right. Damn, we know it's not right, but we know it's also not the majority. We know that. We know that. But the fear that we build in them, the anxiety that we build in them, and I see it in college. I see it when you see videos of at school. The most dangerous thing I tell you when my kids went to high school, I started putting them into a private school, $10,000 a head. I was like, you going, you going, you going, you going. And the bill coming, I'm paying. I'm flipping property, I'm paying. I'm doing real estate, I'm paying. After the second year, I'm like, hell, I ain't paying it no more. And my daughter went over to a public school, and my wife was a little anxious, and just the rhetoric made her a little, oh. And I get that from the right. That's the right giving that rhetoric. And I'm technically on the right. If you say I'm conservative, you may put me there. I don't see myself. You may put me there. And when she went to school, man, she had the best years of her life. She's made so many friends. She got to do things that she wasn't even able to do in a private school. Shaping her mind. It's all about the choices you make, not about what choices other people make that you have to base your life off of. Sit down and think about that. Because we use other people's decisions and choices to determine how we do and what we do with our lives. Oh, we're not going to go over there because they're going to whip our behind. Let me tell you, one of the best places I lived in America, and I've lived in many places, was Florida, Pensacola. Because I met people, man, I met some white folks that were just so doggone cool, bro. It was just so, the vibe was cool. The atmosphere was cool. It wasn't busy like Atlanta, that's granted. It was still a little, the joke was, oh, you're in an armpit of God. But it was so cool. From fishing to camping to meeting people that I've never met before, that I wouldn't have met. Normal people. They not sitting back thinking about my color. You're going to say, Leon, I know you had racist things. You were in Florida. You on the border of Alabama. That's what some of you black people believe. You running down to Atlanta and you think being around a bunch of black people is actually going to help you. I'm going to tell you, it's going to make your life damn harder. Okay. It ain't gonna make your life easier. Somebody needs to say it because you got to navigate around your own, and so you still have that crabs in a bucket mentality when you have people from different places that come here and they clamor here. They think by changing their location that they'll be changing their mindset. Change of your mindset is a heart change. It has nothing to do with your location. You can be located in anywhere in the country. If you think bad, guess what? You're gonna be bad. Okay? You if your thinking is corrupted, doesn't matter if you're in it doesn't matter if you're in LA, Alaska, or Georgia. Your thinking is just flawed and corrupted. Get your mind right. This is not the answer. When I lived there, I sold the most money corporately in corporate sales. Then I sold so many alarm systems and I closed so many deals. I won the contest for a TV and some other giveaways that the company. Now, you talking about ADT? You talking about the whole region here, several states, and you're in the armpit of God, and I'm a black man, and so the idea would be, oh, if you do that, you go knock on that door, or you go over there and you're gonna meet that white person, and they're gonna spit in your face, they're gonna call you the N word, and then you're gonna really see. We love to do that to each other as black people. Then you're really gonna see. Never got it. Believe it or not, I only had one racial issue, and me and my wife, we were in Orange Beach, Alabama, on a beach, and some guy, we were walking by, and he had three of his friends, two of his friends with him, and I was still practice. I was still a martial artist, so one other part of me says, "Okay, let's go," and then the other half says, "No, I got a wife. I got three kids at home. I got a six-figure job knocking doors with no salary." You heard what I said. Six figures just knocking doors, meeting and greeting people, talking to them. ADT didn't pay me a salary at that time. They do now. Things change. They pay people something, but they wasn't paying at that time. But I say that to say there are so many things we program into each other, that we program into our children. The sense of fear and heightened fear. Like I said, my aunt told me that's the devil talking to you. When I left college, I was at Morehouse. I was at Morehouse. Morehouse. And then I think I transferred to Georgia Tech. And no, not Georgia Tech, Georgia State. And my aunt said, "You gonna quit college?" No. That's the devil talking to you. But I spent so many quiet times. So many quiet times just confessing the word, listening to hear. Just it wasn't like a religious thing. I didn't think I was religious. I was just someone that just knew that I needed God. Now, granted, of course, my mom dragged me over to to church 3 days out the week, so there was religion in there. But that's a single mother in West Philadelphia. Gun violence is crazy. I had friends getting popped, shootings. It was death. We were in a safe part, the cool part of the city, but you better believe we went to a Catholic high school in the heart of the city. And there were times I had to run, run, Leon, run. Because I could fight one, I could possibly do two, but damn, when you bring 6, 7, 8, oh, doggone, your boy got to go. But I say, do we turn around and give our kids faith, or do we give them fear? Do we turn around and help them, or do we turn around and give them weakness? Because fear is weakness. Do we tell them their identity is black and American, or do we tell them that they're children of God, made in the image and likeness of God? Little G's on this earth. Their father, their heavenly father, is always there, and he loves them. Or you can go to church and they can tell you you're going to go to hell. You see the difference, right? Because when I went there, they were telling me, you're going to go to hell if you continue doing what you're doing, Leon. And then I'll go home and God will say, I love you, son. And the confusion was there. I was like, hold on. I'm going to hell. He's telling me he loves me to keep me from going to hell. A revelation of who you are. Now I spent 40 minutes before the show even got started talking about this. Yeah. Maybe this is the way it's going to go today. I'm not sure. When I open this stuff, I put these programs together. I put these videos to talk about it together. And I think I do it, largely because, I definitely want to make sure I have a topic to talk about. We don't just get on here and just talk about anything. But one thing I think I'm possibly going to do, I'm going to skip the show. I'm going to skip some of these videos that I have in here. Because we're going to talk about the shutdown. We're going to talk about the mortgage. We're going to talk about Ford. And this is crazy. We're going to talk about the shortage on Ford. We'll probably go back to that. College black men. I want to talk about this because this was probably one of the ones that
around the country. If you were
I thought that before I even rocked this, I thought that this was a very interesting topic, but I knew it was coming. And I think that black men are just waking up. Some of these young kids are waking up, or some of the parents are saying, damn, I'm not going to spend $40K to do this for you to come out and make $40K and then not be able to pay the $40K because, excuse me, real life, you're not making $40K. When it comes to that, after taxes is 25, 30, depending on that. And then you still got to pay back $40K. We disable them. We set them up for failure coming right out the door. Right out the door. We set them up for failure. So I'm going to run this because I thought this was interesting. But what you will hear from me and get from me always will be counterculture a lot of times because the Spirit of God is in me and I'm always going to do counterculture. And I got into real estate because he told me to get into real estate. And damn, don't believe that is something that I loved doing or even understood what I was doing for some time. But I understood it down the line. But it was a trade. It was learning how to speak to people, how to sell, how to communicate, how to recruit. It was the foundational piece for actually becoming a good entrepreneur and building wealth. And we don't tell our children that. We tell them go to school, get a 4-year degree, and then they come out and they're stressed because they can't find a job. And it should never be about finding a job. And I didn't understand that till years later. You talking to a person that said, Lord, I got to go back to school. Granted, I went back to school and I was doing it online and God said, man, you need to stop that.
Your students are enrolling into colleges and universities.
According to data from the National College Attainment Network, overall freshman enrollment last fall dropped 5% compared to the year before. And that number, according to experts, is expected to go up.
Another staggering statistic, historically black colleges and universities, or HBCUs, have reported their lowest enrollment for black men in 50 years. But now more programs are trying to address the need.
Shemi Bukoye knew he'd go to college, but he never planned to end up at a historically black university.
Funny enough, A&T was actually the only HBCU I applied to, and lo and behold, I'm here now. And coming to A&T, I didn't really have any guidance. I didn't really know what to get involved in or what I was meant to do or what my purpose was.
The 20-year-old is...
And that's it right there. He didn't know what he was meant to do. He didn't know what his purpose was. He didn't even know what he wanted to do. Young, you go through that. I get it. I really do. You don't find it on the heels of a $50,000, $35,000 a year commitment. You don't find it on the heels of that. You don't find it on the heels of debt. You don't find it in there. You find it before you step into there if you go into there. But no one told him how to actually find it. So the words that just came out of his mouth was, I didn't know what I was going to do. And we have way more children going to college that don't know what they're going to do because our educated elite black people told them that that's the way. That was the way in the 60s. That was the way in the 70s. And it may even have had some movement in the 80s. But we're in a completely different society now. Completely different. So you have to question it. Are you doing this to children to screw them up? Or is it a program in your mind? Or you're just lazy and you don't want to tell them the truth of the misery that you suffer right now in your 40-hour-a-week job? Because you got to do the job, and you know you got to do the job. You got to put the bread on the table. You got to pay the bills, and you're thankful for it, but it doesn't complete you. It doesn't make you whole. It doesn't satisfy that peace in your spirit or in your soul where you can sit back, after you ate a great meal and burp, you're like, oh, that was good. You can't do that there. You can't. And then we wonder why we have this situation where they're stuck. They're stuck and they don't know what to do. And therefore we don't create jobs. I was looking at I was listening to this article. This guy was talking and I started listening right anyway. I was listening to it. And he's just talking about how Black Africans, you don't get the type of innovation that you saw in the European culture, the Asian culture. Why? I'm going to tell you something that a lot of people don't know. A lot of the Black Americans Blacks or Africans that came from West Africa, Liberia, I don't know, some in Nigeria. I know that because I had uncles from Nigeria. Sierra Leone, I know that because my stepfather was from Sierra Leone. Ivory Coast. A lot of those countries sent their children here to the States to study, to come back and improve society there. But most of them ended up staying here because it was just way too easier, especially after spending so much time and energy at university. Why would I go back? And if I go back, I still have to deal with the backward thinking that's in that culture. I still had to deal with it. A lot of backward thinking. Not enough talent to push the society, the culture forward. Now we do see a change that's happening where more Africans are learning here and taking it back there for strategy to grow in a society, a culture. But that's recent. That's so recent within the last 10, probably 15 years. I may give you 20, but it's been at least very, very recent. Very recent. So why does he go to school to find his purpose? Why? And we think that's healthy. We think that's okay. We think that's normal. We don't realize that. Come on, man. Let's go.
Now a sophomore at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. Today, Black male enrollment at HBCUs is at an all-time low, dropping 25% since 2010, according to the American Institute for Boys and Men.
So what does it mean that we're seeing, even still, Black male enrollment decline in these spaces?
If HBCUs are a crucial ladder for upward economic mobility, and they are, we do see very good evidence that Black students who attend HBCUs will get a boost.
Dr. Richard Reeves and DJ Windsor conducted that study.
There's many factors that are playing a role in this. We look at just a pathway problem with just K through 12 disparities, lack of Black male teachers, and also some financial barriers. Black students are more likely to.
It has nothing to do with all of that. Nothing, and this is the shade that's thrown on. It has nothing to do with that. Yeah, you may have. Okay, do you know that one of the women that advocated, the teachers that advocated for me and through my graduation party, she wasn't a Black male teacher. My French teacher wasn't a Black male teacher. He was a white male teacher. I can count on my hands how many Black teachers I had. I can. Now, I had some good ones. But think of it. Does my life change because the person speaking to me is black? Now, you like, Leon, they're coming from the hood. They're coming from the ghetto. And I get that. I get it. I believe that now you need more exposure to people that don't look like you. It needs to be the complete opposite, because you don't know how to interact with them on your job. You don't know how to interact with them in business. You don't have a sense on how to interact with other cultures in spaces that require you to interact with them as a civil person, because you're trying to you keep going for the black effect. It's like it's got to be black. Some of my greatest supporters in my business life did not look like me. They didn't look like me. Say, oh, well, Leon, you're different. They're coming from the hood. Got to realize, in the hood, these kids, don't tell me that BS. I just told you. The 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 PJs was right down the street from me in Philly. And literally, I've dated girls from the PJs. Project. Yeah, they were. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, some project hoes. Yeah. Oh no. No, no. I dated them. And you said, man, you could call it project. Man, listen, they was slinging it. They was slinging it. It was project hoes. That they were. They were slinging it. They didn't know any better. And you talking to a kid, I ain't know no better. I'm into my teens. I'm like, yo, shoot. You know, we gonna do this? What's up? At the end of the day, you can't tell me because they grew up. When you have a chance to take your child out of that environment, if you have a chance to put them in a better school or put them in another environment, or let's say you're going to send them to college and they're so good to go to, like, they're going to go to college and they've got the grades for it. And that's the other part. If you don't have the grades, stop trying to push that thing. You're better off doing some type of online program and working a job while you do it. Why? Because you have to prove that you're worthy to, not just to yourself. You should be able to prove to others that you're worthy of the state or the government or your parents signing their name on that, co-signing that check, co-signing that loan, or them giving you that check. We treat higher education a lot of times like it's an entitlement. And we don't even go to, there are so many reports coming out of China right now of educated Chinese youth unable to find jobs because the job market collapsed. And we're not even talking about what took place with tariffs concerning their economy. There were so many tutoring programs that tutored children, young adults from, I was reading the report. You can go Google it. I'm not even saying it. They sleeping on the streets. They have a movement called the do nothing movement, or just give. They're the epitome of hopelessness right now. And we want to mirror that because they were mirroring us. Go to school, get a degree, get a great job. They trained their children to do the same thing. That's what they did. They trained their children to do the same thing. They trained their children to do the exact same thing. And their children right now are living on the street, or they don't have a job, living with their parents. And that culture is shame. It's shame. And we see it doesn't work. It's not a one size fits all for everybody. No, it's not. We keep thinking that these social structures are one size fits all. These social structures, these organizations aren't one size fits all. Dude, certain organizations won't let you in because they know it's not one size fits all. You just don't fit. They'll tell you, you try to be a Kappa, nah, you too dark, bro. They got a certain standard. I don't agree with it, but they do. So why don't we expose our children to more? Let them see If you're a plumber, you can make 100,000. If you're an electrician, you can make this amount. If you HVAC, you can make this amount. But we keep stuffing them in the program. This one lady, I'm a consumer of content, guys. And I'm a reader of books. I'm someone who I'm always learning. I'm always in that learning state. My wife will tell you it's always something new that I learned. I'm sharing with her. There is some level of conformity that we have done in this black, and I don't know. I don't get in here and talk about black culture all the time. I don't do that. Every now and then. Trust me, this is more like a one-off for me. If God has given me to do this, I'm gonna do it. We conform to white culture so easily. So easily. From our women straightening their hair to have straight hair, you just can't stand that your hair is curly. Oh, you can't stand that you're more thick. Yeah. Yeah. The white culture is not a thick. Think if you look at their history, it's always been, they've always admired the skinnier women. We don't have we have big bone, thick women, and we love them. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. So y'all know, I let you know. And we love them and we appreciate them. Because your body is designed to withstand some of the diseases and health things that you could possibly go through in life because you have more fat and more meat on your bones and you're more dense and more stronger. Gert. Not to say that they don't have thick women, they do. They do. But guess what? They want to be like you. They want to be like the sisters a lot of times. They admire certain traits. Why is it that we don't admire those things in ourselves? Why? Like, I keep saying, when we don't know who we are, we become everything and anything. If we think that our identity is truly our color, when God he birthed us before time even started. The scripture said we existed in the mind of God. So he knew we were coming out black. He knew I was going to deposit them in an Indian body. He knew I was going to put them in a Czech body. He knew. Oh, he's going to be English. I'm going to land him right over here in this continent. We find so much and we allow so much division to be started and birthed out of all of that. These little things. Do you not know that this whole thing dies and turns to dust, dirt? It's gone. When it's gone, yo. Oh, are they going to read on your tombstone? Leon, the black guy who lived in Georgia. Survived by his... No, man, they ain't even going to remember that my behind... I was going to say my black ass. was black. They ain't going to remember that in no tombstone. In the grave, everybody looks the same. Dirt.
Report that their finances plays a bigger role in their decision, and also some of the underfunding that HBCUs have experienced.
Across the country, schools are programming to meet the need, like at A&T.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started.
Aggie Men, or Male Empowerment Network, is a school-sponsored student group dedicated to fostering connection and support for first-year and continuing male students.
If we could help facilitate that, that would lead them to do better in the classroom.
Our illustrious barbershop is called Chop.
This evening, they're hosting a barbershop-style salon event where guest speakers and student leaders...
Hold on. That's a freaking high school assignment. I mean, that's an elementary school assignment. My kids went to business classes in high school, and it was build a business, and they were talking about salons and barbershops. And that's what I'm talking about. Why the hell are you talking about salons and barbershops? Why not talk about entrepreneurship in the space of architecture, construction, project development and consulting, agriculture? Why? Why not? See, that's why I say they waste your freaking time. And you doing courses and things that aren't relevant to what you should know how to get. They need to know how to get down in the freaking dirt, lay freaking sod, and then you can appreciate the land that you walk on. And you will never look at grass the same. Because I've done it. I've done it. I've done it. Getting paid $5 an hour to lay sod. I needed a job. I got to put money on the table. What? But I appreciated grass. After that, I understood what made it take. I knew the difference between fescue and Bermuda and tall fescue and Zorza. Well, no, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But you know those things. You learn that, you feel appreciated. Then you're like, Leon, what does that have to do with life? You know what? I'm not gonna create a grass company. I may decide, I could decide that he could decide, hey man, shoot, I'm gonna go cut grass. And don't get it twisted. You've got $1 million contracts cutting grass in Georgia, Florida, Texas, golf courses that will pay you thousands to maintain their lawn. So don't look at it and see, we look at these things and we look down at these things. But as technology and AI begins to advance, things like this, AI cannot do. Until Elon puts an AI in a freaking robotic body, AI ain't gonna be cutting grass. Even if you get the robot still needs to be programmed and guided by somebody. Waste of time, waste of money.
Discuss the importance of self-expression.
It felt like one of the first organization events that we had where all men felt comfortable to express themselves.
Why do you think it's important for young Black men to go to college, but particularly in HBCU, and to find this kind of community?
Going back to in high school, I didn't think I was going to college. I didn't really see a reason for it. I grew up in Section 8 housing, didn't really have the money to get to college or even think of that as a option. So I can only imagine how pivotal it is for our young Black males to be able to go through the same type of transformation of meeting the people that they need to meet to really further their progress in life.
While programs like Aggie Men.
I let you listen to this. I'm going to tell you, you see him? I can understand him being there. I can understand. Articulates himself very clearly. He said some things that red flags come up. And I'm gonna dive deeper into it. There's still this belief, this undercurrent that we need other Black people or other people to be successful in life. And that is the narrative that is always taught in college. You got to network. We hear it in the real world. Got to network. My problem with that is because now we're teaching them also that their success lies and those opportunities lie with the people that they know. We've heard it before. It's not about what you know, it's who you know. I'll take it deeper. Yeah. Do you know him? Do you know the one who gave you the gifts and the talents that you have and designed you and made you a certain way? And he's the only one that can explain to you why you do certain things that you do. He's the only one. College can't teach you that. And I tell you, listen, I say this, I'm not saying, and I'm not advocating for no college for Black. I'm not advocating for getting rid of HBCUs. And it's very interesting to me that, anyway, I won't even, that's a different topic. I'll keep talking. Yeah, you came for the thoughts on my mind, right? Segregation was definitely necessary for a period of time. We even see now certain cultures still grow off segregation. I mean, certain Hispanic communities segregated. You go there, the whole block is there. I know we go to some places in Georgia, in Atlanta, I would say, that you step into that area, it's Korean. It has Korean restaurants, Korean taste, a Korean culture, and then you go over here, you know it's African because they've got African restaurants, African culture and taste. So, yeah, I can see that. I can understand that. But when we get to the place when we say that that is just the way we do things and it should only be done like that, we need to stay with our own. I say you crazy. You crazy. During the time, if you study this out, in the 60s, before, in the 50s, it actually started in the 40s. We did have Black Wall Street. We had those, everybody loves to talk about Black Wall Street. We had a lot of culture. We had a lot of cities and communities, Black cities and communities, going down to Alabama. I mean, when I was in Alabama, I saw some of these communities built around even Tuskegee, Alabama, where you had doctors and you had educators, you had lawyers that were Black. They were Black. And at that time, it was very much necessary because they were not accepted in the culture. And to some degree, I can understand the need to learn certain things from the Black culture and to be in a Black institution. The problem I have is you don't know how to connect with people that don't look like you. That don't look like you. And it's not like you're in a Black culture where now you come out and you go to a Black church and almost like going to a mosque, not a mosque or a synagogue. Let me put it, I don't know what they do in a mosque. I do know the synagogues, what they do. That they network within their synagogue. Jewish folks connecting with Jewish folks. Sharing and learning. Giving jobs and building businesses and supporting each other's. I could see that. I can understand that. Their culture grows good together. I get it. But we come out and we do not do anything for the Black culture. See, two things can be true at the same time. I keep telling people this. This can be true. If you're going to do it where you create the community, create the structure, the value. Do it. But don't think that because you went to a Black school, because you pledged your Black fraternity or sorority, because you went to this place, that it's given to you, that you're entitled to it. You didn't even hit the first step. The first step is it comes from God. What does He want you to do with it? It may be to empower Black America. It may be to be a voice, a Black voice amongst other people that don't look like you. It may be. But I can say one thing, that's the exception, that's not the rule. We, for whatever reason, we think that this is the rule. We think that our kids are supposed to go to school. Now, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to show you something else that's developing on the heels of this. AI. AI don't care if you went to a Black school. It don't care if you went to a white school. At the end of the day, everybody gets laid off. Everybody who's in that area gets removed. So you're going to have to ask yourself this question. Was the value and the investment that I placed in doing that worth it? And we should be telling our children what's coming down the line, but we're not sharing that with them. We're not. Because most Gen Zers, most of us are scared. I'm not. Most of y'all are scared of technology and AI. Do you know how many people I've met that's my age? I'm in 40s, what? That say, hey, they don't even use computers. That social media stuff. I'm tired of hearing that nonsense, that social media stuff. But you want them to go to school. Do you know that the education that you get in the space of marketing, sales, economics, there's so many different, when you come out, the information in society has gone so far that what you learned the last 4 years, you got to relearn it again when you get with your employer. So they say, hey, Leon, well, it just shows that you have the ability to learn. Damn, man, shoot. Being an electrician shows you have an ability to learn. What the hell? I got to do 4 years to show I have the ability to learn? Bro. College is the exception. It should not be the rule or the requirement. And how do I know? Because there's so many people under student loan debt right now that haven't paid it off. They can't pay it off. They don't make enough to pay it off. They don't even have a job to pay it off. But y'all still, you want to stay on a soapbox. You still believe what you believe. When change happens, the hardest part for people is the actual change. There's a book called Who Moved My Cheese? It's about rats running around in a maze. And they put the cheese at one end of the maze, and the rats, they go through the maze and they find the cheese, and every morning they're running a test. They're putting the cheese in the same place in the maze. So the rats, their minds are programmed automatically to find that cheese. So they'll run around through the maze, they'll find the cheese. Now, after a couple of days of running that test and they're programmed into it, they take that cheese and they move it to another part of the maze. The rats ran right over to that area and they couldn't find it. So in the book, you've got two rats talking to each other and it's still like, where's the cheese going? One rat decides to wait until the cheese comes. He said, I'm just going to wait it out. So he would go back to his house and come back. No cheese here today, day 2. Go back, come back, no cheese here to day 3. The other rat had a sense of courage. I'm going to go and I'm going to explore to find out where the cheese moved to or where we can find more cheese. So he's out there and he's exploring. He's going through the maze. He's going to the left. He's going to the right. He's going to all these different places in the maze, and he's almost feeling despaired and down. I'm giving y'all the book. You ain't got to go get it, right? Oh, you better go get that book. I got it in my bookshelf. And he's like, when he's at his lowest moment, he turns the corner and he sees the cheese. It's like, damn, the cheese is here. And it's not that one little chunk of cheese. It's a bunch of cheese, like the cheddar. like he got it. And then if they looked at the other rat is just still going back and forth, going back and forth, going back and forth, going back and forth, to the point that he becomes despair. I think he dies. He literally just dies, just like out of depression. The cheese is moving, y'all. The cheese is moving, y'all. The cheese is moving. The cheese is moving. And only God knows where the cheese is moving to. Even man doesn't know where the cheese is moving to. They don't know the end result of AI, what it's going to look like. But God knows what the cheese is moving to. He knows where the cheese is going to be in 2026, 27, 28, 29.
Work to bridge the gap. Some experts say more institutional change is needed.
This is potentially a crisis for the country as a whole. If HBCUs
This is not a crisis.
can't be a place where
This is not a crisis. This is not a crisis. This is your brainwashing.
Black men want to go and do better, then that doesn't bode very well for the entire higher education system.
For students like Shemi Bukoye, Aggie Men has provided guidance, mentorship, and a model for success.
I feel like Aggie Men put me around a lot of like-minded people and people who have been here before me, so they're able to show me what their mistakes was and what worked for them, and having that guidance has allowed me to be successful.
At that age, do you really know what you need to be successful? And what about if the people that give you the thing that you need to be successful, or they tell you you need this to be successful, and they're wrong? What happens then? I mean, because, you know, people can tell there's misinformation that's passed around. You know that, right? Huh. What happens when, in the midst of that, man, I'm going to go to this.
A city without walls will not stand. A nation without borders will not stand. It will destroy. I don't think anybody understand. I don't think many people understand what is going on, but the barbarians, they are within the gates. Don't come for me saying, oh, what barbarians? You're calling people barbarians. there's two sets of immigration that's going on right now. There's an immigration that's prior to 2020, and then there's an immigration after 2020. Actually, three sets, because there was a point of immigration from right after 9/11 up until like the Obama era. That's also another set of immigration. And because your politicians will not tell you, let me expound on what's really going on. Besides the spiritual components of when you import foreign entities into your land, right? Let me explain a little bit. They are going to make America a third world nation, a third world country nation, if people don't stand up and actually do actions. That's why you got to pay attention to the people that you're voting in. One of the things that the Democratic Party is focusing on right now is, if you notice, they're pulling away from abortions, they're pulling away from LGBT, they're pulling away from inclusivity, but they're focusing on other areas that will allow immigration. The problem is not with legal immigration. The problem is we are dealing with illegal immigration.
And she's right. And she's right, because if you can break the system, you can lean it more towards your side. The biggest problem is that when they're doing that, they're also breaking your household. And I don't hate Democrats. I don't hate liberals. I don't have a problem with liberal. If you have a liberal mindset, I have no problem with you, because that is your mindset. I can literally be okay with a person whose pants are sagging and I'm standing next to him. I'm just looking at him. He wants his pants to sag. That's his mindset. I don't care. We're talking about a coalition. Remember in 80s, Jesse had the Rainbow Coalition? This is another type of coalition. They don't need to focus on LGBTQ. They don't need to focus on any of that. They don't need to. They could just focus on immigration and let it lean. And I keep saying, when you cannot define habeas corpus, and you can't say that habeas corpus is something that is for an American citizen, and you give it to everyone because they broke into the borders of your wall, we have these issues that happen. I stay on this. I continue to talk about this as a true African American who is here, okay? Who came here legally and did everything the right way. And I'm sitting back and I'm looking and I'm like, this joker don't know nothing about the 50 states. He don't know nothing about what's the capital of this. They can't even read the freaking signs on the street. U-turns that kill families. But this is the thing. If it's for the black people and it's the lie, this doesn't benefit black people. If anything, it displaces black people. And I keep saying, why are we letting our leaders do this to us? Why can we not tell them this is BS? And the sympathy that we have for people that are displaced financially, I get it. But guess what? There are people displaced all over this world financially. Does that mean they all get a place here? Where does the standard change? Where does it shift? Where do things adjust? Does it just, is there ever going to be an adjustment? We can't give this to everybody. The goal of what we should be doing and what we should do. And I've seen people like Gary Vee do it, and I've seen some other people, and I'm not talking about Akon. They're doing things in Africa. They're doing things in third world countries to benefit them. It's no different than if you've got the tools, you've got the ability, let's go do it. I'm not saying send our money over there to go do it. God, come on. And if we do send money, let the American people say how much we want to send. Let us vote on it. Don't let it be a secret stash bill that's tied in. That these bills are freaking 1,000 pages, and none of these Congress people read it. None of them. The only reason this is becoming an issue is because somebody's talking about it. Because it's been going for a while. It's been going on for a long time, y'all. Listen, and you're talking to somebody that when I flip houses, and I haven't done a flip this year. I'm probably not going to do a flip for next year. The bread is over there where the money's being lent. If you're loaning the money, that's where the bread is. But my workforce would always be Venezuelan, Colombian, Black, occasionally, white. Some of the white dudes who did one of my flips in Griffin, Georgia, dude, them boys was bad. It was just not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good. Okay, so let's make sure we good with that. Not bad meaning bad, but I'm talking about bad meaning good. But they came in, they got the job done, they did the work, and I was able to put it on the market and get maximum return. I got over asking. Look, really good. So you got great people that are here. Great people that came here to work. Not everybody's a criminal, God. Don't let them fool you. I'm not saying that everybody's a criminal. But you do have a lot of people that you know nothing about that walk down the street. And when we address it, if just the mere thought of talking about it creates hate and dissension by people on the left, government officials, they tell you to shut up. You may even get some black people that look at you upside down. Why are you doing that to the Mexicans? Can I say it? Nigga, please. Please. Whatever. Ninja, take a break. Because it's not your children that they're around. My wife walked into one of our fix and flips we were doing a while back. A year, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. Guy was very good. His crew, impeccable. There was one person on there. My wife, and I know when my wife gets when her ding goes off, she's 99.9% right. That's what I pay for. You know what I'm saying? That's what I invest my love for. I need somebody to have my six. She's like, babe, I don't think he believed it. He belonged. He looking at me. Something's not right. Women know this. You know when you walk into a room and you see those weird guys, and they're weirdos. They're straight weirdos. You know, they're weird. They're just weird. And if you're a weirdo guy and you're listening to this, you're just a weirdo guy. You need to stop it, really. And I'm not even going to sugarcoat it because there's a lot of weird Negroes around here. Okay, ninjas around this piece. And you make women uncomfortable, and it makes it bad for the good ones. Stop being weird. Stop acting like you never saw a woman before in your life. This was the type of situation that's like, oh. He had to go. He had to go. And you don't think that it is. And this is not meant to put fear into you. It's meant to make you aware. Because we don't quite know what we fight against. The whole thing that took place, and I'm running the course and I'm on this other point, and I swear I'm going to come right back to this. But one of the biggest things that you got to realize even taking place when we look at this, well, anyway, I'm not going to go down there. Let's stick to what the sis is saying. Let's stick to what she's saying. Come on.
That guy in the middle of Manhattan saying his declarations and proclamation of Allah is just a token of a clarion call that was ignited in all other cities across the nation. Because why do you think he has so much confidence? Why do you think he has so much position and authority to do that? In the middle of Manhattan. New York City is the capital, the finance capital city of the world. Did y'all forget what's really going on? This was get people over, infiltrate the communities, get into government, and then conquer the people. I don't think y'all understand what's really going on. And while many of you guys We're saying that, oh, we don't want Christians in our schools, and we don't want Christians, and we don't want Christians teaching our children, and we don't want Christian, la, 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 la. The one thing about Christians is we don't impose on other people. The biblical Christian. Because what you...
She had to correct herself. The biblical Christians, not the real, like the ones that actually love God. You know what I'm saying? God loves them and they have a relationship. We're not talking about the ones that kind of push themselves on you and stand on a corner. Hell is coming. Joke, you need to sit down. 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 Really. You scaring people. You're not recruiting. You're deflect. You're pushing away. You're not drawing people in. You're not attracting people. Like, you're actually pushing them away. And nobody ever talks about that. And that's a different thing. Nobody ever talks about that. Go ahead. I'm going to let this run real quick. I'm going to stop real quick. Go ahead.
Don't realize is the amount of illegal people that entered, that infiltrated this country, is going to turn down this country if something is not done. These people came from places where they had to be savages. See, when y'all travel, y'all love to go to the tourist part. How come y'all don't go to the inner country and really see how these people live? These people are cutthroat. They have no means, or they have no morality, and they definitely don't have no boundaries when it comes between your life and their life. Because it's not only the government system, the corporations, they need to have a complete overhaul. Why? Because they're
she
part of the problem too. At the same time, on the face value, it looks like they're not for a complete overhaul. Why? Because they're a part of the problem too. At the same,
I'm going to pause that and run it right back so you can hear what she said. And I'm going to tell you why I know she's 100% on point.
Complete overhaul. Why? Because they're a part of the...
One second. Let me take that back one more. Run it back one more time, sis. Let me
between your life and their life. Because it's not only the government system, the corporations, they need to have a complete overhaul. Why? Because they're a part of the problem too. At the same time, on the face value, it looks like they're not for illegal immigration, but they have been. They're the one who's been funding it the whole time. Who you think they hiring like that? It ain't the American people. Look.
She's 100% right. I'm going to tell you two things that I know firsthand she's 100% right. 3. When I worked as in the tech space, in the banking fintech space, for one of the largest fintech companies in worldwide, global, there's a piece that you fill out when you first start working with them, and you do they accept you. You got to go and do. They ask if you're in need of a visa, or if you're in need of some documentation for you to work there. If you're not legal, okay, that's the first one. If you're here, you know. Second one is, I am literally at the Petco. I go from the Petco over to Utah, and then I go from Utah with my wife over to Marshall's, and we're at Marshall's. Every store that I went through, out of those 3 stores, all 3 of those stores were playing Spanish salsa, merengue, type of like Spanish music. I'm at the Marshalls and I hear it. I go into the Sprouts and I hear it. I go to the Utah and I hear it. I end up at the Petco and I asked the guy, I said, man, dude, I've been coming here for a while. Damn, I've been living in the area almost 10 years. I've never heard you guys play Spanish music before. Yeah, we've been playing a lot lately. While they're riding over in LA. I know y'all think I'm crazy. Y'all like, oh, Leon. See, they say that you are being unjust and racist and all this other stuff. And I'm telling you what I'm experiencing when I go to these stores. Never heard that music before. Never heard it before. Oh, you're like, oh, Leon, you're really, you're making this up, man. This can't be true. Do you know that part of the No Kings, one of the sponsors for the No Kings event, these marches, was Walmart. One of the sponsors for No Kings was Walmart. Why would an American company sponsor an event that's, whether you like Trump or not, it's still anti-American? I'm like, bro, you got people fighting for immigration and shooting at cops that are not from here. Why would you put your money on that? Why? They don't care about you, just like the same politicians don't care about you. And when we realize that they don't care, that it's always been about the green, then our lives will be better. Then we can structure, we can posture, we can make the right moves and decisions. And stop thinking that this freaking system right here, the politicians that are running it, care about you. Say, Leon, Donald Trump's a politician. No, he started as a businessman. I'm not advocating for Trump. You want to say it? I don't care. The whole freaking thing is broken. And Trump knows that it's broken. Why do you think he's trying to dismantle so many things? And people keep saying, oh, he's tearing this apart. He doesn't know what the heck he's doing. Bro, it is broken. When you could pay lobbyists to push your agenda, something's broken in the system. And when the money from the lobbyists determines what laws go into place, the system is broken, bro. It's broken. You better work, and y'all want to go get your degrees. And you want to go get your degrees. And I'm sitting back, you don't need a degree. You need to learn how to get the bag. And you need to find out how to tap into the bag. And only God going to tell you how to tap into that bag. Whether you're going for real estate, whether you're going for stocks, whether you're going for whatever, only he is going to tell you how to tap into that bag. Because it's broken. And when you rely on people like Nancy Pelosi, who made $134 million trading on her stock, $134 million through her whole time as a freaking politician who never created one doggone thing. See, you don't understand, and this is the problem. I keep saying this. God made us creators. He did not make us traders. No. But God made us creators. We don't teach our children to create. We have no idea what it means to create anything. Whether you create a social media channel, whether you create oil for the hair, whether you create a comb for black hair, create something, and then you try to sell what you create, and you tell me after you've created it, after you sold it, after you hired the people, after you've paid the taxes, after you've done the distribution, after you've been shut down and then reopened and woke up in the middle of the night not knowing if shit is going to work out, after you've done that a couple times, then you freaking got an opportunity to talk. And I told this to a cat that was in my text, in my DMs, and I stand by it. You need to create. See, everybody right now that's making millions of dollars, not all of them, but a large amount of them, 90% of them are creators. They've created something. Whether they created a brand, whether they created an object that they're selling to you, whether they created housing, whether they created clothes, it didn't matter. They created something. They put their ass on the line to make it go through. And then some of you think that they knew somebody who knew somebody who knew some. Can it not be that God just connect you with the right people? Because I'm not saying you don't connect to people, but you connect to him before he connects to people. Create, make, build, and then you have an opinion on whether this right here is really what should happen. But they're going to replace you regardless. Because immigrants that are coming in, whether illegal, well, and they're looking for illegal aliens. That's what they're looking for. Don't tell me I called them an alien. I don't want to hear none of that. Alien, alien, alien. Illegal alien, illegal alien, illegal alien. Illegal alien, illegal alien, illegal alien. You don't make me, God make me. At the end of the day, it's an illegal alien. that they would rather give their money and their time to, and that they care more about for the next 15, 10, 20 years. They know that if they can win that party, if they can implant those people in. But what they don't know is that the same people that they're trying to put in, they don't care about them either. They will bust the walls, steal their shit, and sell it on in freaking New York or on Canal Street. Anyway.
All the other countries right now that are starting to, they've been tightening up on their security when it comes to immigration. These people know what's going on. And the fact of the matter is, you have a lot of countries around the world. They seen what was going on and they looked the other way because they want the demise of this country. Because what y'all don't understand is the United States is actually in their way of a lot of plans that they're trying to do, quote unquote, what is it called? A multipolarizing system. They don't want no multipolarizing system for real. They want the demise of the empire that ran for 100+ years. And many of y'all are helping them. Let me ask you a question. Many of these people that infiltrated illegally, they have countries to go back home to. Do you? Do you?
She's not wrong. She's on point. She's on point. So when you hate America, just know that you're also hating yourself. You don't like the people that's in charge. I get that. Schumer's a punk. I get it. I'm looking at him talk the other day and I'm like, dude, all you gotta do is do a sit-up. Like, I can't take you serious up there. We know Pelosi, she's trading off of insider trading tips. We know these things. You put people in place that stand against those things. But when you have a powerful system running and money backing them, you got to sit back and say, okay, when the people emotions are so out of control about what the left says or what the right says, and they can't think straight, we can make money. That's it. Chaos is cash. You heard what I said. Chaos is it's cash. It's cash flow. It's money. It's money. Who do you think they were fighting over keeping from closing this gap? They wanted to keep this thing. They trying to open it, but they trying to give the money over to people over in another country. They trying to get the cash. They trying to get your bag. Trying to get your taxes. Trying to get it. That's what they want. Control over it. It's all about power. It's all about power, yo. And oh my God. I'm gonna play this one real quick because this is on the heels
So this
of it.
morning, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem.
Hold on. Before I even get into this, it's same topic, same conversation. I'm just gonna drive home to you why a lot of this is stupid. Whether we argue online, whether we dismiss people from being our friends and all this other stuff. I was woken up a couple mornings by a client of mine. He's probably watching. I don't care. He sees this. He knows. He sent me 2 YouTube videos back to like one morning, another, next morning, another, next morning, another. Trump is this, Trump is that. And you know what it was? It was the Native Americans in AI on the beaches and the settlers. I thought it was funny too. It was real funny. I'll probably find this. I'm going to find it and play it. It got the settlers rolling up and the Native Americans asked them, where's your papers at? Where's your papers? And he's like, we have no papers. Oh, you have no papers? You're illegal. Dude, he wakes me up to this. And I can care less. I can care less. Because at the end of the day, they believe that this country of America is their country. It's rightfully theirs. When I say they, I'm talking about coming from Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia, going down south of Texas. They believe it's theirs. They even believe Texas is still theirs. It was, oh man, you won Texas. It shouldn't have happened. That's a mistake. We didn't have enough firepower at that time. Let's do it again. and then you let them in. And these are the people that we have in power. See, I would never run for office, but I will do this all day and put out clips all day, make statements all the time. Because when this shit happens, your property value goes to nothing. When this happens, and somebody, oh, Leon, yeah, I'm an immigrant, and I'm talking about illegal immigrants. Yes. You can call me what you want. You can say what you want to say about it. But yes, I'm here legally. I'm naturalized. I paid my dues. I served my time. I did it in the military. And I'll freaking do it again. My wife just won't let me. Okay? But I know when I get it. It doesn't have, it's not rocket science, but it's rocket science to Americans. They don't know what's going on in France right now. They don't know what's going on in England right now. They don't know how they're dealing with, how Spain is dealing with their immigration issues. They don't know about the call to worship from Islam to they don't know that. They don't know that. The most powerful republic in the world, the most powerful country over the last 250 years, the country that set up the dollar system. You guys hate it. You guys hate it. See, I laugh because you don't know what it's like not to have fresh water. You really don't. You have no idea what it's like not to have fresh water, how to deal with the average income in your country being $500 to $800 a month. You don't know what it's like to have roads that you drive on, and when it rains certain times, it washes out the road, and so you can't even drive down there. You don't know what it's like to deal with malaria, and you don't know what it's like. You think you have an average fever and you can pop a Tylenol. Some people have average fevers that escalate to malaria in some of these countries, and it kills them. And you don't know. You have no idea. So when you call for dismantling something, and I'm one that says the system isn't perfect, trust me, but you don't want to, and it's not even dismantle, you want to like literally destroy it. And you don't have any clear plans on how to build anything back. You think that the Constitution, which recognizes your freedom as just a person to exist, to freely speak, you think that that's some atrocity that needs to be corrected. And you have no idea. I love to see it. It's very interesting. People who have never lived out this country before don't have one idea what it's like to live in any of these countries, and they advocate for, and they attack cops, they shoot at them, all this crazy stuff. And then you say, oh, that's a setup. Somebody did it. It's a setup. That really didn't happen. It didn't happen, huh? Check this out.
Is announcing the arrest of over 150 illegal migrant sex offenders in Florida, thanks in large part to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who authorized state and local officials to help immigration enforcement. Joining us now is Secretary Kristi Noem. Good morning, Madam Secretary. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Lawrence. We're doing great. We're making America more safe and secure every day. And
I love the way. Good morning, Secretary. How you doing? He's always like that.
That's a wonderful mission to have.
So let's talk about this operation, because this is stunning. This is a win not only for the administration, but also for the country. How are you able to nail these sex offenders? That's not easy.
Oh, Lawrence, our partnership with Florida is absolutely amazing. This operation was called Operation Criminal Return. I call it Operation Dirtbag, because these individuals were sex offenders, but not just sex offenders. They targeted children. So sexual assault, battery, attempted homicide. These 150 individuals will be gone off of our streets. Our kids will be safer. And this partnership with Governor DeSantis in Florida is a model that we want to replicate across the country.
Wow. 150. 150 illegal migrant sexual predators. See, you can see that in Florida, but you can't see it in Chicago. You can't see it in New York. You can't see it in LA. I mean, Florida's working with the federal government. Everybody else is fighting them. 150? Okay.
These individuals should have never been in our country to begin with. The fact that they were sexual deviants and perverts, and now we've gotten them off of our streets, it's remarkable, and we need to do more of it.
So, Madam Secretary, you guys also surge resources into Chicago. But now you guys are moving on from that Operation Midway Blitz. You're going to keep some folks still on the ground. And you've already seen some success there. Homicide is down 16%. Shootings are down 35%. Robberies are down 41%. That's why I'm surprised to hear these comments.
Man, Chicago. 16% homicides, shootings. Some of y'all say, oh, Leon, that's not true. They're good people. They're good people that they're taking. I had to argue. One of my friends, cool dude, he's like, Lee, man, all it takes is them to do one thing and then one person. I'm like, dude, I know that you're going to have people that are good people. People that have been here 20 years. 25 years. 25 years. I've seen it where they've taken pastors 20 years. Here. They didn't create a crime. Now, I don't know if they really let them go, but it was enough for NBC to talk about, of course. Yeah. There's some really good people. Not everybody's a predator in doing those things. We're not saying that. And there needs to be a change when that happens, where these people can now get a chance, the good ones, to actually stay and get their citizenship. I don't doubt that. But boy, I'm going to tell you something. If you got into this mug and you jumped over the border, all I can say is you do get what you get, because you are playing a game of Russian roulette, and you believe that the bullet won't come up in the chamber in front of you. You're doing that. And they do it because of financial reasons. We can't turn a country socialist and then turn around and say, hey, yeah, we came here for economic advantages. You mean my tax dollars paying for your health insurance? You guys don't get it.
It's from the Illinois governor. Let's play it.
The people of Chicago have deserved better than having CBP and Greg Bovino in this city. But I would not say that we're now going to be free of these terrorized neighborhoods. And we'll have to continue to protect our neighbors and our friends and our families. Donald Trump doesn't know anything about Chicago. He still thinks, Chicago is someplace that's on fire, like he says about Portland. The man is demented.
Bro, who is paying these guys? Who's paying these people? Somebody's got to be paying these people. I'm telling you. I know these people are being paid, because that only affects Black neighborhoods. It only affects Black neighborhoods. Zoran Mandani, he won, and he won on the backs of middle, overeducated people. And what we see is that what they're trying to advocate for, soft on crime, free stuff, only affects the poor Black people. It affects the Black people because they become the victims of the people that get the soft crime. It affects their neighborhoods because their property values go down. Nobody wants to buy it. It's hard to sell it. And when they sell it, the person who buys it is an investor, and they move other people in there. They don't care who's there as long as they get their rent. And those people live side by side. And you don't know if your neighbor is a sexual predator, if he is a gang member. You have no idea. And they say, Leon, stop causing that fear baiting. It doesn't help your money. It doesn't help your bag. It hurts you more than anything. You say, well, it's not about money. They're here for the money. What do you mean it's not about money? Because if they can get bread and get money in their country, would they be doing it here? If they can speak, kill, shoot, do the different things that they do here so willingly and freely, they would do in their country, they would do it there. They wouldn't have to come here and do it. But they have to come here and do it. Have to come here and hide here and do it. Why? Because they know they can get away with it. They get habeas corpus when they come in. They can disappear, period. And then you get this clown who doesn't care about us. He doesn't care. This is all about power. And even with Trump, yes, it's about power. It's always about power in politics. Politics is all about power. It's not about people. It's about how can I make you buy into my narrative so I can gain power off of your back, period. That's it. Please stay away from the program. If you don't like it, stay away from it because it's true, period. And you can't shut your mouth. You can't hide it. You can't do any of that stuff with it. You can't. It's no way to hide it. They don't open the government because they want Medicaid. Okay, we want Medicaid. Let's fund it, but we won't fund Medicaid for people who are illegal. Oh, no, illegal. We have to take care of them too. Why do we have to? Why? Why? Nobody can answer it. It's just the right thing to do. Okay. Somebody breaks into your house and they sitting on your couch when you come down in the morning, eating your Frosted Flakes. You just let them jokers stay there because they're nice people and they don't have any food to eat. Let them stay at your house, Governor. Let them stay at your spot. Let them do that.
Madam Secretary, what's your response to that?
Well, Governor Pritzker's personal attacks against President Trump puts his people in jeopardy each and every day. I'm just so thrilled with the results that we've had in Chicago, and we're going to surge more resources there. We're not going to just be in Chicago. We're spreading out to other cities and continuing to do our work. I won't talk about specific operations, but we're not going to give him any relief from his political rhetoric. We're going to be in there defending these families. The significant difference that we've made in public safety in Chicago is something that we need more in many more cities. So I'm so thankful for Border Patrol, thankful for ICE that they get up every single day and they go into these dangerous situations and they protect people, put their lives on the line. Lawrence, I don't know if you've heard the statistic, but they've had an 8,000% increase in death threats against them. We've had shots fired at our officers. We've had hits put out on their heads, but they get up every day and they go do it. And remember, they live in these communities. They want to protect their neighbors, their family members. That's why they do what they do.
So now that you guys are getting the bad guys out of the country, there's this debate, even amongst some conservatives, about the legal path and the visa process. Some of the people that don't want to be citizens, but they want to have visas. I want to play this exchange between the president and our own Laura Ingraham yesterday. Let's play it.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have.
The way I was able to get into this country, my family was able to get in. My father, an engineer, applied to work for Sunoco, got the position, and when he got the position, he got the visa, and he came over, worked his tail off, and in the course of doing that, we were able to apply for citizenship and become citizens. He brought value. My mom became an accountant at a Jewish law firm, brought value. That's what he means. That's what he means. You want talented people. He's built bridges, buildings all over the country. worked for them for 25 years, almost 30 years. That is the value play we're talking about when we say talent. You say, okay, well, they don't have the education, but we need workers to be able to work. I agree with you. But we still need talent. We need talent. We need talent. We need people who bring value and add value to the country. You can't let these knuckleheads hide behind the talented people that are out here that are trying to get into this country. You can't say we let the knuckleheads in with the talented people. No, you can't say it. And none of y'all want to agree with it. Some of y'all so afraid to talk about it. Y'all too weak. Y'all too, oh, what about Christ? And what does Jesus say? Jesus didn't. Oh my gosh. Y'all need to stop lying on Jesus. Y'all need to stop making this stuff up or what Jesus. Y'all need to stop looking in this Bible. That's why the Crusades has some issues, because y'all keep looking and making up stuff in the Bible. There's nothing in the Bible that talks about doing this. Nowhere in the Bible does it say give up your country to the immigrants. And don't give me no Old Testament scripture, because we're in a new dispensation. Yes, I am a dispensationalist. I do believe when Jesus died on the cross, he settled all of these issues and all of these sins were taken care of, and you have everything and you became a child of Christ. So you can hold on to the Old Testament. And even in the Old Testament, they had people that were living amongst the Israelites that still conformed to being circumcised. They didn't walk around there, oh, we're not going to have them cut our junk, you know what I'm saying? We don't feel like it today. Listen, if you're going to stay in the camp, you're going to get circumcised. Yeah. Abraham and his whole house was circumcised. Don't tell me that it is. Don't give me that Christian stuff. Don't give it to me. Don't give that to me. I am a Christian. I've been to all these deal church, Baptist, Episcopalian, Catholic school, Methodist school, non-denominational. You name it, I've been there. African churches, Pentecostal. Bro. It ain't nothing in it that says it. Ain't nothing that is that says it. But you brainwashed enough by your spiritual leaders who tell you this? Advocate for the good ones. Advocate for the ones that should be staying. Advocate for them who bring value. Stop talking about this. Stop it. Stop it. Y'all don't want kings. Anyway, bro. Anyway.
You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles.
So, Madam Secretary, it's not just these visas. It's other visas of people, look, that want to come to the country. They don't even necessarily want to be citizens, but they're hardworking. What is the administration's position on these visas?
Now, we're going to keep using our visa programs. We're just going to make sure that they have integrity, that we're actually doing the vetting of the individuals who come into this country, that they want to be here for the right reasons, that they're not supporters of terrorists and organizations that hate America. And that's what I think is so remarkable is under the Trump administration, we've sped up our process and added integrity to the visa programs, to green cards, to all of that. But also more people are becoming naturalized under this administration than ever before. More people are becoming citizens because we're not just streamlining and building some processes back into our immigration policies. We're also making sure that these individuals that are coming into our country and get that privilege, that they actually are here for the right reason.
More people are becoming citizens of the country. More people.
The Biden administration let thousands of terrorists into this country. They opened the southern border. They abused our asylum programs, abused our protective programs and visa programs, and we fixed all of it. It's remarkable what President Trump has done, and it's because he's a great leader. He's a visionary, and this man is going to go down as a legend in history as our greatest president ever.
Madam Secretary, how do y'all make the determination on enforcement? Because you got some folks that have clearly broken the law when they cross the southern border, but they're not the worst of the worst. And you got farmers and ranchers. You're hearing it from all over. You're even hearing it from some of my friends in ICE and Border Patrol. How do you guys make the decision on who you guys are going to target with these operations? Because that's a big debate right now.
Oh, we do the same policies that we've done for years. We do investigative work, information gathering, we build a case, and then we go out and target those individuals that are committing horrific crimes against the American people. And when those people are brought into justice and who they're hanging out with, and individuals are vetted that are around them and with them in apartments or on the street to make sure that those individuals should be here as well. This Trump administration has consistently targeted those criminal illegal aliens and will continue to do that. In fact, 70% of the people that we've encountered and arrested have criminal convictions against them or charges that are pending. The fact that those individuals are off our streets today is remarkable. Thousands of gang members, thousands of cartel members, and thousands of known and suspected terrorists have been interdicted and brought off the streets. Every day
Thousands. Thousands. Man, I'm going to wrap it up. Got some other topics. We'll talk about it later. Guys, you know, I say it to say, and I didn't expect to even go this route today, but I did, and it is what it is. At the end of the day, one thing is so true. One thing is so true. It's not a black thing. It's not a white thing. It's a power thing. It's a green thing. It's a control thing. You got to ask yourself the question, what are they planning? Why do they keep everything? Why do they need to shut everything down and fight so hard for immigration, healthcare, funding, knowing that the people that they're fighting for can't even vote for them, at least not legally? I think everybody should have a shot at the American dream, regardless. Doesn't matter where you come from, everybody should have a shot at it. The system needs some reform, but it's not going to get the reform by turning a blind eye and saying that these people don't belong here. I mean, saying that these people can stay here, knowing that they don't belong here. Knowing. And it's unfair to people who actually paid the price to actually get here. It's unfair. And you may not think it is, but you've never had to stay. If you've ever had to go through immigration and go through naturalization, go through that process, then you can say something. Hey, this is Real Estate Lunchbox, dude. I'm here to help you protect your home value. And before I even roll out, we're going to do this real quick because I got to talk about one of the best programs that I've ever been a part of, been partnered with. Great group of people. Really great, good group of people. And he's a great investor. Live Free, Give Hope. Live Free, Give Hope. You see it scrolling on top, 12monthfreerent.com. You can win a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, fully furnished unit that includes utilities covered for 1 year with Live Free, Give Hope. It's free to enter. There's no cost to do that. So you can enter today. Just go to 12monthfreerent.com. Some of you guys are just love sweepstakes. So if you want to do a bulk entry, bulk bonus entry, grab the merch, man. The merch is beautiful. Merch is cool. I love the merch. Love the merch. That's one of the hats right there on the merch. Yeah. The merch, you can buy yourself a t-shirt, buy yourself a sweatshirt, doesn't matter. Any of that. Get yourself a t-shirt, get yourself a sweatshirt from Live Free, Give Hope. I think it's $29. And you get a chance to win the apartment. Can't beat it. $17,500 in value. Now, I believe, and I told the owner of this building and the guy running it, that what's going to end up happening this first time around, you might get a lot. We may tell everybody about it, and some people be like, oh, yeah. And some people are going to sleep on it. And then somebody's going to put it in, and they're going to get it. And we just going to do pictures with them. We're going to take it all over. We're going to post it all over the net. Then we're going to do another one 2 months later. And some of y'all who could have got it the first time around, investors, fully furnished, Good God. I would do it, but I can't do it. I can't be an ambassador of the program and then also try to win the program. I can't do it. Just can't do it. They won't let me. Rules apply. But what ends up happening is that person wins it. That's $17,500 in value. Dude, that thing can change your 2026. That can change your life. You don't imagine, you don't have to pay utilities. You don't have to pay your mortgage, rent. You don't have to do any of that. You just move in and just live. Flat screen TVs, all of that. You saving how much money each month? And you're in a great area in Atlanta too. Fully gentrification is done over there. Beautiful houses. And then let's even stack on top of that. If you're an investor and you decide that you want to actually get another door, this can be another door for you. Yep. So how do we make money giving it away? Dude, when people buy merch, it contributes to the cost that he paid in order to fully furnish and then to cover utilities. Somebody gonna win it. Why not you? Just go to 12monthfreerent.com. Hey guys, I'll see you on the next video, and thanks for taking the time to jump on here. You guys have a great day.